Howdy, guys, and welcome to night 61 of Big Brother Season 24's Overnight Feeds Recaps. Welcome to Cliff Notes. A good Labor Day to y'all. Hope y'all are enjoying it. Last little bit of a 3-day weekend. House guests are certainly enjoying it. A lot of hanging around, just chilling out around the pool now that they've got the backyard. So we certainly had some of that. We did have some conversations later in the evening that are certainly worth talking about. So we'll get into those. First of all, is a little bit of a refresher for y'all. Remember, we've got Michael as HOH. A big surprise there, right? Michael's HOH. Terrence and Alyssa are on the block. Michael is also one veto. There's almost no chance. In fact, I'm saying there's no chance that Michael uses the veto today, which means those two remain on the block. Terrence should be the target going home. Although we heard a little bit of a discussion that maybe it could go somewhere, another direction, but I expect Terrence will go home coming up on Thursday. But we did have some conversations. It started off slow, picked up a little bit as we got through the evenings themselves or itself. So let's get right into those conversations. Now, first of all, I guess just as a little bit of a theme to the evening, a lot of different configurations, different final threes, final fours were suddenly being mentioned yesterday. We heard talk about an all girls final three, an all guys final three with Monty, Turner, and Michael, a final four of Alyssa and Taylor and Michael and Brittany, a final four of Turner and Brittany and Monty and Taylor. A lot of different things being shopped around. And what's a common denominator? Except for the guys' final three, the common denominator is Brittany. Yeah, it seems like Brittany has started having a lot of conversations with a lot of different people, just playing a little bit of devil agent, perhaps. We're going to talk about that as we get into it. But remember back in week one when Brittany was one of the backstage girls and felt like there was a good chance that she could be going home, and she got very frantic in her conversations. I feel like I'm seeing just a little bit of it yesterday as well. So I don't know if she's feeling threatened, if she's feeling very confident, and that's why she's having all these talks, some combination. We're going to talk about, but certainly a lot of different groups trying to form together, or at least conversations about groups forming together. All right, so let's talk about the feeds themselves. As we came back from the Sunday night episode, the TV episode last night, we saw Brittany and Taylor and Turner and Monty all outside, resting, working out, doing everything that you can imagine, but separate from each other, not saying a word. I saw this and thought, Lord, this is going to be a boring evening, boring overnight feeds. Now, Big Brother apparently was feeling the same thing, because next thing you know, the house guests discovered a bunch of beer and wine and hard seltzers all in the storage room, just waiting for them. They also have a camera to record stuff throughout the evening. I think production was fearing the same thing I was. And even with all the alcohol and everything, they still didn't act all excited. In fact, I think one of the comments was, wow, we already have so much alcohol from some of these HOH victories and everything anyway. I guess we'll drink it later tonight, but yeah, not right now. So they're enjoying the backyard. We'll just leave it at that. A little tough to get these house guests going. They didn't even wake up until early afternoon because they stayed up all night long, and Big Brother's letting them sleep in on this Sunday. So they have found beer and alcohol. We'll see if that makes a difference or not. A little bit. All right, drinking and also a charcuterie board started around 8 o'clock or so Big Brother time. They're all sitting around the dining room table, so not really any strategic game talk. They're just talk about night one, them seeing each other for the first time, what some of their first impressions were. They're talking about interacting with everyone else, learning, being exposed to new things through all these house guests in the house. There was talk about learning about vegetarianism, sexuality, talk about getting Big Brother tattoos, just a lot of just sitting around kind of shooting the bull type moments. They talk about watching. Now I thought this was interesting. They're talking about asking around, is everyone going to watch the season when they get out of the house? Most of them are saying, yeah, I may hold off for a little bit. Alyssa said, yeah, I think I'll wait for a little while, which is funny because I still have never watched my entire season. I think there's a lot of Big Brother former players who are the same way. I guess everything's still even after being out of the house, everything is still so emotional. You lived it. The stresses, everything just comes back if you watch those episodes. So they're saying, yeah, we may wait for a little while before we do it. There's talk about their comic books, their zings as well. They're scoring them on a scale of 0 to 10. Terrence liked his. Taylor liked hers. She said hers was a compliment, not a criticism. I was laughing. Brittany's talking about hers. Brittany had a tough time. Brittany got the zing was about having crazy eyes. Then her comic book was about being Brit Flea. And Terrence did earlier in the day apparently figure out or assume that Brit Flea alongside copycat Michael, that basically a flea gets carried, attaches itself and gets carried by someone else. So he's pointed it out. So Brittany not really happy with the way her zings and comics went, but she's talking about her crazy eyes. And while she's doing it, whoever the cameraman was yesterday is having a lot of fun. They zoomed in all nice and tight on Brittany's eyes while she's talking about them, and so that was kind of funny to watch. But they're talking about that. Alyssa was saying that her zing was incredibly rude. Yeah, it was, Alyssa, but rude doesn't mean that it wasn't accurate, right? Yeah. I think Zingbot kind of had that one spot on, but yeah, Alyssa's thinking that was a little bit rude. Yeah, that's what Zingbot's all about. I wish Zingbot had more of the rude ones, talking about gameplay and everything, than doing the body shaming and some of the things that Zingbot seems like is doing more and more every year. I gotta say, as far as the zings that took place from Zingbot, I'm very lukewarm on this season. I thought there could have been a little bit more going on. There were a few good ones, but there were some that I think they kind of missed the boat as well. I get off my soapbox. All right, we've got talk from the house guests all gathered around about who might be lying about their jobs and what they actually do. Brittany thinks everyone is telling the truth, even though she hadn't said that she's actually a hypnotherapist, but she's saying everyone's telling the truth. Monty disagrees, says, yeah, there's lying going on in here. There's several people. I think Terrence is one of the ones who thought that Monty may be former military as opposed to personal trainer. Joseph apparently had said at some point earlier in the season he didn't think Monty was a personal trainer because he didn't think Monty knew about certifications, things like that. So there's some talk about who may actually do different things. Alyssa's talking about how earlier in the season she told everyone that she was a neurosurgeon, and everyone started laughing and didn't believe her. Yeah. Okay. Michael's thinking that Kyle. Michael's thinking that Kyle probably makes money doing TikTok videos because he's talked about it so much. Everything. Michael figured it out. Now, as far as I know, no one has figured out that Michael is an attorney. They still are saying maybe you do an escape room, but maybe you're much more involved with it than just running it. So they're thinking about stuff, thinking he may work in a lab or something as well. Haven't heard anyone talking about him being an attorney just yet. All right, some actual game talk. Alyssa and Michael in the HOH room. After they drink all these beers and everything, then Michael says, hey, let's do one-on-ones, talk a little bit, which is kind of a brilliant idea. Get people a little loosened up with the alcohol and then ask them all these burning questions, see if you can get some information from them. So Michael wants to do one-on-ones. He's pulled Alyssa in first. He's suggesting, or I don't know if he outright said it, but he pretty much implied that he won't be using the veto today. That it's going to be Alyssa and Terrence on the block, but that Alyssa should be good to go. No worries. Alyssa does say that Taylor said she's going to vote to keep her and is also open to working with her. So Alyssa's very happy about that. Alyssa is also talking about Turner a little bit, saying, look, Turner's very, very easy to influence, and I'm pretty sure, or I suspect that he and Monty are working together. So she's trying to identify some other targets other than herself for Michael to focus on. And Monty and Turner are the ones that she's throwing out there. She's also mentioning that she's really worried that Monty would put her up since he does seem close to Terrence as well. So again, she's a little bit worried about these two. She's also trying to offer them up as targets to Turner himself. So we got a little bit of that. We've got Terrence and Michael talking to each other. And remember, Terrence already threatened to taint the jury because Michael put him up, was potentially sending him home. But Terrence is taking a little bit different tack yesterday evening as he talks to Michael. He's saying, look, I know Alyssa hasn't won anything, but keep this in mind. I'm all by myself. I don't have anyone. I don't have any alliances. I don't have anyone with me. He said, then you look at Alyssa, even though she hadn't won a whole lot, if she was to make it to final two, sit in those final two seats, he says she could win this thing because she has a lot of jury votes. And Terrence starts naming out the votes that he thinks she has. He thinks that that Alyssa would have Jasmine and Indy and Kyle, maybe have Joseph as well. He said, look, that's 4 votes. You only need 5. She's pretty close to winning it with the relationships that she has in the house. So he's saying she could be a potential threat to win this thing. And meanwhile, here I am. I could still be valuable to your game, Michael. So, I know you don't have a vote, but you've got influence in the House with Brittany and others. And so maybe reconsider the fact that I'm the bigger target because Alyssa could win this thing. I don't think Alyssa would win this thing, but she does have friends in the House. Certainly Kyle would give his vote to her, and some of the others maybe would. I don't see her winning it though. But if she makes it to final two, expect the unexpected, right? But that's certainly the strategy that Terrence is using at this point in time. Michael's talking back, responding back to Terrence, and one of the things he says is, "Look, I'm not holding anything personal against you. I think Terrence had said something talking about the Dyer Fest and saying, look, I did this, this, and this, and kind of walked through it again. And he says, I think if you were out there, Michael, you probably would have done the same thing. And Michael's saying, yeah, no, not gameplay, all that stuff. I don't hold anything personal. It's the game. I get it. We're good with that, Terrence. No big deal. I'm fine with your moves so far. Nothing personal. Terrence is also telling Michael that he knows the veto probably won't be used this week, but he just wants a fighting chance this week to stay in the House. Well, that's what HOH and vetoes are for, right? Veto competitions. But he's asking for another chance to try to stay in the House. Michael is trying to get a little information out of Terrence saying, look, if you stayed and say you won HOH next week, who would you put up? Where's your mind at? And Terrence is saying, look, again, he's repeating, saying, I don't have an alliance with anyone. I don't have anyone I'm attached to. I'm pretty much a free agent. Probably if I had my chance, I'd be looking at Turner. Of all the people left in the House, I would think that Turner and Terrence maybe would have the best opportunity to try to work together. But Terrence is throwing Turner under the bus, basically because he doesn't want Michael thinking that he's going after him. And he thinks that Turner is probably Michael's biggest target. So enemy of an enemy kind of situation. So he throws out Turner as the person that he'd most likely go after if Michael will just figure out a way to keep Terrence another week. I don't think it's going to happen. All right, we've got Turner and Michael talking on their one-on-ones. Michael's talking about Turner's HOH. He's saying, look, I've had a few more victories than you have, because I think Turner said, you're just killing it on the comps. Michael says, yeah, I've won a few, but if you want to talk about impact in this game, he said, Turner, your HOH, we booted a mirror out of the House. That was such a big move that it's going to have carry a lot of weight with the jury. He says, mine, getting out Jasmine. We got out Jasmine. Now we're getting out Terrence. My HOHs just haven't had the same impact that yours had, Turner. So he's trying to make himself look a little less threatening to Turner. Turner's saying, or warning Michael that the women are forming this group of three alliance, that he's heard about it. He's seen it. Just warning Michael this is happening. He's also saying, apparently Brittany's been telling a lot of people that she just wants to experience everything there is Big Brother. She wants to be in from day one to the very last day. If she wins, fantastic, but that's not really what she's playing for. She's happy with second place, with the second place money, because it means that she's in the House until the very last day. So that's the story she's been trying to tell everyone, apparently. And Turner saying there is no way that Brittany is really just playing for second place. She's saying that, but she's a super fan. She wants to win this thing. I hope you don't believe that, Michael. Michael's agreeing, said, yeah, no, that's tough to believe. And Michael is pointing out that Brittany's favorite season of all time is season 16, where Cody took Derek. Cody ended up getting beat by Derek. If he'd taken Victoria, he probably could have won the thing. And Michael's saying there is no way, if that's her favorite season, there's no way that Brittany wants to be Cody and not win if she has the opportunity to make that decision. So Michael's not really buying into what Brittany is selling either, it sounds like, when he talks to Turner. All right, Turner is telling Michael that Brittany offered him, Turner, a final two. But he's saying, but yeah, Brittany doesn't win anything. She doesn't bring anything that would really help me, so I didn't really respond to it. But Brittany did ask me about a final two, so just in case, Michael, the two of you think that y'all are super tight, realize that she's working deals behind your back. Turner's also promising Michael at this point, says, look, if I do win HOH, you protected me this week as you said you would, and you followed through, you are. So if I win HOH, I'm telling you right now, I'm not putting you up. I'm not getting you out the door either. We're good. Tit for tat. We can go to the very end if you want to, like this, and we're good to go. I'm not sure I truly believe that. I think if Michael is vulnerable next week, I don't think Turner would hesitate for a second to put him on the block and get him out of there if he thought he could. we'll see. We'll see if the opportunity arises or not. We've also got Michael talking to Turner, saying, "Look, I feel better with you with everything right now after talking to you." He's saying, "As much as Brittany and I have worked together," he said, "I can't put all my eggs into the hope that Brittany wins the next HOH. I can't compete. I'm depending on her. I need to have some other options as well. I can't just count on Brittany. So I appreciate you talking. I appreciate you making that promise to me. It means a lot." And Turner is again warning Michael who to watch out for, saying, "Look, Taylor is sold on all the girls group that's forming around her. That Taylor views taking out Michael would be a huge epic move, and so that's what the girls are thinking." So again, concentrate on the girls, Michael. Don't think about me. Concentrate on the girls is the message we're hearing here. Turner's also talking about the after party alliance, talking a little bit about Direfest. He's saying, "Look, I was out there. I agreed to it because you agree to whatever alliance is presented to you, right?" He's saying, "But I knew Kyle and Alyssa were an item." In fact, he says Kyle and Alyssa had a final two, whether Alyssa's admitting it or not. He says, "But they had a final two, so that after party alliance with them is a final two." He's saying that meant all I had to depend on was Terrence, and that's not how I want to get to the end of the game is having to count on Terrence. So he said, "I was never into the after party alliance. You don't have to worry about that, Michael. That was just something that occurred at the moment, opportune, but I never bought into that." So with that, they pretty much call the meeting over and walk out. Seems like on good terms and having talked about a lot. And from there, I think Michael wanted to talk to Brittany, but she was in the diary room. So he gets outside. Everyone else, except for Brittany, who's in the diary room, everyone else is talking around the hammock. Again, not really game talk. They're talking about the challenge. Lots of talk about that and how it works and who would go on it, things like that. They're talking about Too Hot to Handle, other dating shows, things like that. Eventually, talk turns to food because it's like 3 a.m. Why should it be about food, right? Their schedules are so screwed up because Big Brother's letting them sleep late. So eventually, Turner decides that he's going to make breakfast burritos for everyone. Terrence says that he's never had a breakfast burrito, so so Turner at that point says, "Yeah, I'm gonna make some for everyone." I think he makes half a dozen or so. Now we watched Turner making these breakfast burritos. They're a lot healthier than the breakfast burritos that I'm used to down here in Texas, which is a lot of chorizo or meat and eggs and a whole lot of cheese. I knew Turner's breakfast burritos were a little different when I saw him cutting up the tomatoes and the onions and the bell peppers and all that. But Turner cooks breakfast burritos for everyone while Monty's trying to teach Alyssa some kind of TikTok dance or dance move of some sort and everything. So they sit around 3 o'clock in the morning. They have we'll call it a late night dinner, a very early breakfast, some midnight snack, 3 or 4 hours delayed, something like that. All right. After that, we do eventually get Brittany in the HOH room talking to Michael to finish up his one-on-ones. Michael is suggesting to her that he's really thinking he's going to keep the nominations the same, not shake anything up, not use a veto. Brittany's a little bit worried that Monty and Turner could be teamed up, that they really could be teamed up as they keep hearing, and worried that could be a danger for next week. And Michael's agreeing, but he's also worried that if they change nominations, if he uses veto, he says, "I'm not going to put Turner up because I promised." He said, "If I put Monty up, then Taylor's going to be mad at me because Monty and Taylor are close. So she'll be mad at me. Turner's going to be mad at me for changing the nominations if they truly are, if Monty and Turner are as tight as some people have said." He said, "Terrence is already mad at me. That's not going to change." He said, "Everyone's just going to be mad at me anyway and be even more mad." So he said, "I just don't know that works to my advantage." But Brittany's worried, saying, "I get that, but I'm just worried that there's no room for error next week." She's saying, if we get put up on the block, if you get put up on the block, you don't win veto, you could go home. And what she doesn't say, but I think is a bigger concern, if we get put on the block together and you do win veto and you pull yourself off, I'm probably going home. That's Brittany's fear. I mentioned she's working all these deals with all these different people, and I just don't know. She's playing the double agent, the secret agent. I don't know if she is trying to make deals with everyone else in the house just to try to protect herself in case that scenario occurs and she does find herself on the block next to Michael and he pulls himself off. I don't know if she's trying to construct a lot of deals to protect her going forward, Or is it just a matter of getting all this information so she can take it back to Michael and give him all the scoops so that she feels like she's contributing more to this partnership? Is it a matter of her with jury management? She's trying to get friendlier with everyone else in case she makes it to a final two. It could be a little bit of all involved. But again, Brittany is kind of the one running around talking to everyone last night, and it was really noticeable. But so anyway, so she's worried about what could happen if they end up on the block together. Michael is saying that he feels like Taylor is closer to Monty than Alyssa. They're talking about different partnerships, different final twos and all that. And Michael's saying, yeah, I just think Taylor and Monty are close. He said, I think that's true. Lots of people saying a lot of things, but I feel like that one may be actually correct. Brittany is saying that she really thinks this week the best target, the one that should be going home, is Turner. And she says, but I understand you made a promise. I understand that you're not gonna change it, but really Turner is who we should be going for this week. And Brittany is also thinking that Monty is less likely to turn on them than Turner. Again, yeah, we could get at Monty, but really Turner's the one that could flip on us and create havoc in the house. I get why you're not putting him up, Michael, but that's the best. That's the best target, is what she's saying. Brittany's also talking about all these final three plans that she's been sending out there, which makes me think that she's bringing this information back to Michael just to show how much she's contributing to the group, to build her resume, perhaps. You know what's going to happen. If she makes it to the final two, Michael's going to be talking all about all of his competition wins. Brittany's she can't depend on that to sell the jury on voting for her. She's going to be basing it on the fact that she was such a great deal maker, that she kept them protected all the time, that she worked out all these arrangements, that Michael was a comp beast, that she was the one handling the social game. That's how they work together. That's where Brittany's headed, right? It's got to be. So anyway, Brittany is talking about the final three plans, saying, I'm not going to do them. I'm just talking about them just to see who's loyal to who, see who's willing to work with me, who's willing to turn on others, et cetera, et cetera. She's also, though, talking about Taylor and saying, look, she really loves storylines, and I really think she's this final three. She's really liking. Now, I don't know if she's talking final three of Brittany, Michael, and herself, or Brittany, Taylor, and Alyssa, or Brittany, Taylor, and Monty. A lot of final threes going on, but she's saying Taylor loves a storyline, so she's going to go for the dramatic at this point. Brittany is thinking that Turner's the biggest threat to win. She is saying, now, Michael, if something was to happen to you, Turner's probably who I'd end up with at the final two if something happens, which I don't get. If he's the biggest threat to win, why do you take him to the final two? She has said before, though, that she thinks that Turner may be the only person that she thinks she could beat in a jury vote, that she feels like Turner's really burned a lot of people in the jury. I'm not convinced of that. I think Turner's got more friends on jury than Brittany's maybe thinking, but she is thinking that Turner's who she thinks she could beat out of everyone that's left in the house. Brittany leaves for just a little bit. Michael's talking to cameras, and he's saying, look, Brittany and I can't keep having these long conversations. It's looking super sketchy and all that. It doesn't matter. Everyone in the house knows that Brittany and Michael are a tight duo. What's it matter if they sit up there all night long and talking? I just don't see it being that big of an issue. But you worry about everything while you're in the house. All right, a few more conversations, or one or two real quick conversations to be had. Turner and Monty are outside playing pool. Turner's mentioning this final four of Turner and Monty and Michael and Brittany, saying, are you okay with that? And Monty said, yeah, I'm on board. Hey, final four works for me. He says, but that's final four. Number four, the one that goes out of the house as soon as we're down to those four, Michael's rear end's out the door. We're not keeping him to final three. Michael goes out next. But yeah, if we want to take that to final four, I'm cool with it. Turner's telling Monty that Brittany is telling everyone how close Taylor and Monty are to each other. Monty's denying it, saying, yeah, we're not really that close. He said, I'm saying some of that, and I'm acting that close more to protect you, Turner, than anything else. He says, but yeah, we're not that close. But if Brittany wants to think that and say it, go for it. Monty is mentioning that he's very suspicious about Brittany and everything that she's doing and saying at this point in time. And he's also pointing out that, yeah, Brittany's talking about that she's won a veto, that she's won competitions and all that. He said Michael gave her that veto win. Michael was so close. That's the county fair. He was so close on every guess. He's saying, yeah, Michael just gave it to her when he realized that she was going to win it, if not him. So he's not even counting that as a Brittany win. I think a lot of people are going to think that when it comes down to the final, if she made it into a final two chair. Monty's also pointing out that Brittany is one of these that partners with you just to avoid being a target. Ding, 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 ding. I think Monty's figured it out. He's saying, yeah, she just wants to work a deal with you, just not because she wants to work with you, but just in case you win HOH, that you'll protect her. And I think he's spot on with that analysis. Finally, they're talking about these girls, talking about the women left in the house working together as a final three. Turner's saying, look, Taylor very much wants good TV, and she has said it before. Remember her HOH? She wanted to use a veto just because it made for better TV. Didn't matter whether it's strategic or not, just because it made for better TV. And so Turner's saying she just wants good TV, and as a result, she wants to be the one to get Michael out. That's going to be Taylor's goal looking forward, which from Turner and Monty's standpoint, maybe not the worst thing to have. Means she's not looking at them. She's looking the other direction. So they do notice that or point that as well. And then finally, now this is what's interesting. And I just don't know how valid this is. Very end of the evening, very end of the conversation, Turner and Monty sitting around the pool table, and the conversation comes up. What if we took out Alyssa instead of Terrence this week? And then next week, we could put up Taylor and Alyssa. And just this idea that maybe they could have Terrence a little bit closer to them than Alyssa itself, and then get Alyssa out next week. So again, I said at the very beginning of this, I thought Terrence was going out the door. A little bit of a thought that maybe Turner and Monty, and they've got 2 votes, that Turner and Monty could somehow swing this and maybe keep Terrence and send Alyssa out. Is that because of a fear of a final 3 amongst the girls? That's my thought. I think that may be what they're thinking, just to shut that little opportunity down. I don't know if it'll happen. It may just be middle of the night conversations. We'll find out, but at least it makes it a little bit more exciting for the rest of the week if this is something they want to pursue a little bit further. And there you have it, guys. House guests are all in bed by about 5 o'clock or so, Big Brother time. Big Brother will probably let them sleep till 2 o'clock or so this afternoon. So they're going to be up all night long again tonight. But if they are, there'll be a lot of conversations. I will be back tomorrow to give you the scoop on those conversations as well. So, guys, y'all have a fantastic rest of your Monday. Cliff Notes Live is tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central on YouTube. Come check it out. Ask questions. We'll talk back and forth for an hour or so about Big Brother. And then I'll be back tomorrow morning to give you all the recaps overnight. Until then, guys, SKD143. Cheers, my friends.